and this is Tomes and Tales, a Mischief of Mice adventure into the wonderful world of graphic novels, where we, a bunch of friends, get together and read graphic novels and review them and talk about them amongst ourselves and invite the public to join us. You're welcome to voice your opinions in the chat. Otherwise, feel free to enjoy the watching us discuss. There will be spoilers, and there may be some disconnects. There may also be technical difficulties. But until then, yeah. So let's do some introductions. Of course, I'm Vallen. Hi, everybody. And then we have here Kellisto.
Hello.
And we have Helen, who is kind of... She's using her phone as an alternate means, which will hopefully work out good. And then we have Lilacsc.
Hi.
All right, and I believe, Kellisto, you were the one that was the one that picked this out. Do you want to start us off and tell us a little bit about this amazing novel?
Yeah. So this is by Anne Szabla. I think that's how it's pronounced. According to the internet, that's the Polish word, how that's pronounced. Is interesting. I don't know if this is her real name or just a pen name, but the meaning is a one-edged saber-like melee weapon with a curved blade, which I thought was really cool. So I thought that was really neat.
That is.
So I found her. Actually, I did not find her as an artist. I found her as an obsessive person who loves Instagram full of dogs. So I started following her Instagram account, which is called Boston Service Dog. Anne is, I believe she's diabetic. She has a medical alert dog who, Lilac, you will like, is a golden retriever. And she posts, the dog's name is Sienna, and she posts tons of photos of her and occasionally of her pet dog, which is a corgi named Aiden. Mm-hmm. And then I knew she was an artist following her because she would say that she was going to do certain art things, and it wasn't until she said that she was getting her first graphic novel published that I was like, hey, let's see if we can do this for Tomes and Tales. So I ordered it. I had never actually been to her website, which apparently this is a web comic that she says it's slightly different than what you'll find online, so I think she probably enhanced it or, edited it some. But it's still going. It's updated every Thursday. It's just bird/boy.com. Anne was born in Buffalo, New York. She lives in Boston, and she works for a Harmonix Music Systems as like a concept artist, and she does comics in her spare time. I guess she really wants to do this full time. Mm-hmm. And this is her very first graphic novel. And she's got a sequel, Volume 2, is coming out in August. And yeah, I know.
Nice.
She's doing it with Dark Horse Comics. Yep. As you'll notice as you've read it, there's a lot of indigenous influence in this, a lot. But that's pretty much all I really found on her. I mean, she has a huge web presence. But there's not a lot out there about her personal life, and everything I know is based off her Instagram account about her because, dogs.
That's awesome. I can't think of a better way to come across somebody for a graphic novel.
Yep.
All right. So I just want to say, upon you saying, hey, we should check out Bird Boy, and it's a web comic, and I just clicked and looked on it, and I was blown away by the art. I mean, this stuff is really good. I mean, this is just a sample of one of the regular pages. It's so clean, but it really works for telling such an ancient story. I don't know. I really like the theme, the setting, the art, everything about it. This is really, really good. So yeah, there we go. And that was it, folks. So no, I'm kidding. Anybody have any questions that they already had prepared that they would like to ask, or to a discussion point, perhaps? There was actually no little synapse at the end, on the back of the book like you often find that helps describe everything that happened. It wasn't needed in this case, luckily.
Yeah.
um,
I did you guys feel like? Well, I knew there was a lot of indigenous, influence in this, as you could tell even before I even read that.
Yeah.
Given the art, which was amazing, but I wonder if there was any. I got the feeling that there might have been some symbology in lots of this that I may have not known. Like, I wonder. Do you think maybe she did a lot of research on different cultures and like incorporated hidden things in here, or is that just me like projecting?
I was kind of wondering the same thing. If this was kind of based on something that was already out there.
Huh.
I didn't have time to look it up, though.
I didn't look it up, but I have to say that in a strange way, this kind of reminded me, going back to our last episode, of Watership Down a little bit, with how the creatures are presented in a mythical way when Watership Down would do like the story mode version where they're telling about ancient times of like the rabbit god and stuff. It reminded me a lot of that, which I think it was just Native American type indigenous inspiration. I mean, practically everything seems to have some kind of mask being worn. And
Even the animals.
What's that?
Even the animals don't actually have heads.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is it? See if I can get this right on my screen here. Even the animal, like the herd, all have little masks on it. So,
Well, there's a panel in here that does a really good close-up of those herds, and I didn't notice it the first read-through. I ended up reading this the second time, that if you look at their legs,
Yeah.
they're sticks with
yeah, actually, I'm looking
little
at
things
them.
on it.
Yeah.
I noticed that when I was looking through it.
Yeah, that was
Also, one of the big monster that they go against in this one, when they kill it, it's full of rocks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was just like an overlay of living, but it was still just kind of the earth or something. It was different. Never seen anything like it.
Yeah, here, I think I've got the page here. See if I can actually zoom in a little bit better, rotate that. But yeah, it's just been like ripped to shreds, and inside it's just a bunch of rocks. So it's just some mythical force. And that's just the form that it's chosen. Which I understand.
reminded me.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. It reminded me a little bit of the Secret of Kells.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously more Native American, and the Secret of Kells is Irish, Celtic kind of thing, but
Mhm.
the way some of the waves were drawn, and the creatures, and the forest idea, and the creatures living in the forest, like, it definitely, for me, it had a Secret of Kells vibe, which is definitely not a bad thing.
Right. For those that haven't seen Secret of Kells, it's a wonderful film, and you need to see it.
Yeah, I've been meaning to. I'm gonna have to watch it then.
There's actually another movie out since then by the same group as well. I can't remember the name of it. We've been getting Kashka on and off in the chat, depending on her Wi-Fi reception. Maybe she remembers the name of it, but there was at least 2 movies that were brought out by the same group, and Secret of Kells was one of them.
The one with the Sealies.
Yes, and with the
the name,
Selkies. Yes.
Yeah, Selkies.
But yeah, those are really, really good films. The artwork in those is, it's very reminiscent of this. It's kind of inspirational.
I love the artwork in both. I thought the artwork in this was just fantastic. And I loved the boy's mask that he wore for the bird. It was so good.
Yeah, it's so weird that like everybody in the tribe had a different mask. And, therefore he was the bird boy because he had kind of a birdish mask, where others had like, I don't know, let's see if I can hold this one up here. You've got like your 2 different mask types here that were different people in the same tribe. And even at the bottom of the page, you've got another mask here. Whoops, there we go. And the other one is similar, but actually slightly different. So it's like different animal representations, but they were actually people just wearing those.
Song of the Sea.
Yes. Song of the Sea. Thank you. Yeah. All right, so what do you guys think the whole mask idea is? How's that for a question? Because I see the masks on everything, on everybody. That's not just living like a tree or something, part of the landscape. Do you think they're supposed to represent something?
I feel like maybe this is I don't even know how to phrase this. So it's like she brought wall drawings into a 3D life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you would find these drawings of these tails on walls.
Yeah.
And they all had like these kind of weird looking faces, almost like masks.
Like hieroglyphs?
And it's like she took that and like put it into the world in which she was drawing. Yes.
Like hieroglyphs. Yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't even...
Mm-hmm. So just applied it to everything rather than it just being on that wall.
But they are able to take them off. Because at the very end, his comes off. So it's not like they're stuck to them. It's just what they do. They always wear their mask.
I did notice one creature that didn't have a mask, and that's these birds. I don't know if it's going to focus properly. I'm not holding it very well. But, they all have a similar face, but they don't seem to be wearing masks. And they actually look like they're flesh and blood as well. They don't have, like, sticks and such. Like the deer had. Or other stuff. But, it's just really weird.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. It's true. Maybe that signifies, because they were able to go in between the wood and the snow. Maybe they're kind of beyond the reach of the, what were they called? The
Rookmen.
Rookmen, yeah.
Yes. Did you guys notice?
But the group of whatever the animals were called, I can't remember what the herd, they moved around based on, I think, sound, and also maybe the Rookmen kind of affected their movement. They kind of mentioned that a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
Well, sound, I think, plays a really big part in this. It's strange to say for a graphic novel. But, you've got, like, the kid with his bell, and there's, like, the large bell, and the bells seem to be popular among all the warriors in his tribe. They seem to use it as a way of, like, protection or warding away evil. I don't understand how that works, really. I don't think it's been explained, or perhaps I missed something. Did you guys have any insight for that one? Sorry, I just keep jumping from one question to another.
That's okay.
Well, it does seem to ward off evil, because that's how, like with the Rookmen, the bells seem to have some type of effect to them. And the bell was important in the legend of Mally Manny, because he used a bell and the sword to defeat the monster.
That's true.
So maybe a ringing of a bell is some kind of evil. It wards off evil. It's probably magical in some way.
Maybe.
But in real life, that would scare away your prey. So
yeah,
it's an interesting.
It's true.
And you see that on almost a full page where when Bird Boy goes back to the forest, he's just ringing the bell that he's carrying all the time.
Yeah.
There's like 7 or 8 different panels where it's just different creatures fleeing.
Right.
And yet they have a bell on their spears,
Yeah.
which you would think you'd want that to be quiet.
That's a good point, actually. Huh.
Maybe it's part of like stunning their prey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it wasn't quite fully explained to us just yet, the significance. And I think we'll probably understand it better as we go, or as the story unfolds. But, yeah, I just have to kind of jump into another something here. I know that they're called Rookmen, which makes a lot of sense, you know. But, I mean, foot? Really? That's kind of creepy. That's
Oh, those
That-
are bird feet.
exactly.
I thought that was showing their hands. I didn't get that was their feet.
Yeah.
I think
That
their
was
hands
their
are the same
feet?
way.
Yeah. I
'Cause
think
there's if you look, I mean, he's holding Bird Boy there.
oh, hold on a
and
sec.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I thought those were hands too.
That's definitely a hand. That's a claw. Not to mention they don't have heads.
Right. Yes.
I mean, if you want to talk about creepy,
Yeah.
the little metal.
Well, see what I'll say. What led me to believe that it was a foot is that there it is in this page over here. You see that they've got this large sickle-like sword, which is having difficulty in focusing on, and then on the next page, the bottom of that sickle-like sword leads down to the bottom of the edge of their cloaks, and that's what led me to believe that it was a foot, and the fact that they would be rookmen. Often I thought rooks were another term for like a kind of crow or something of that nature, which would fit them because they also have bird like skulls around their throat on their necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And
I
even
didn't
the
even get that.
even the gold symbol on their mask almost looks like a bird with the eyes and almost a beak-like feature.
Yeah. So maybe Bird Boy is related to them in some way?
Maybe.
Because we have been told that he is not necessarily related to his tribe or part of his tribe. Like he's kind of an outsider.
Right.
So there is that mystery to figure out.
There's so many like little hints and things in this novel. It's ridiculous. You could try and piece it together.
Do you guys think there's some kind of symbolism going on with the like sickle sword that Bryan was mentioning, and then the metal, almost key-looking thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good
I didn't
point.
know what they were going to do with that key. I was like, oh, no.
That thing.
Oh, hold on a second. I was just, yep, that thing. Which, that's actually somebody's face, for those that can't tell. That's one of
Yeah.
the Rookman's faces.
I didn't know if it was, but it reminded me of like the Egyptian tools that they use to like pull the brains out of their nose when they mummified them.
Yeah.
Ew.
That would be a very good reason why that little boy
That's
was
where my mind
freaking
went.
out right there. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't want to be embalmed. No. Oof.
You know what, though? Next to it, when it takes its mask away, you see this like little, almost like a thought bubble sort of thing with a human shape in it and a hole in the middle. So I wonder if they would have like scooped out his heart or something.
Maybe.
Oof.
I think I'm gonna have to read this like 3 or 4 more times.
Oh, because they said sacrifice. So yeah, maybe they're. Ew.
All right, so here's something else that I found interesting, at least. Let's see if I can get it to properly. So you see the bell that he has here, and you see the different shapes that the sound waves are making right here.
Uh-huh.
And then when you go later on, when he has the sword and is falling over the falls, you see the different shapes that are going on there, which seem to resemble a similarity in my mind. It's the constant, like, rectangles shooting out. So I wonder if there is some significance with the bell and the sword, the different rectangles coming off of it. If it's just a really minor form, a way of focusing or something. I don't know. I'm going back to the bells again.
Like it's light,
Maybe.
sort of in sound form.
Yeah, it's really weird. Really weird. Gosh. So many questions. It doesn't really... look how many words are on this page. Very little. But there's so much in this story. It's amazing. Everybody's got their faces down in the books,
Yeah.
What I loved though was that he wasn't immediately a badass or anything. Something clicked in him and he suddenly was amazing. I like that to get out of this, all he had to do was slightly unsheath the sword, and that was it. All the light came out, 'cause he's still a little kid.
Right.
So that kind of realistic, I don't know, approach to him getting out, I appreciated.
Right.
I'm sure he'll be a badass later, but for the moment, he hasn't been trained or doesn't know what he's doing yet.
I agree. Heck, they've got... I just love showing pictures from this, by the way. So let's see if I can click here. You've got... He can't even walk. With the setup that he's got, or the getup that he's got on. His cloak is too big. His helmet that he's got is too big. Everything's too big on him. He's just this little big klutz,
And they note that he is undersized for, compared to the other, I'm assuming, children in the tribe.
Right.
He is undersized.
That does seem to make sense with everything being too big on him. He's getting some kind of hand-me-down clothing, or perhaps I don't know how the helmets work, but perhaps he's supposed to grow into that as well. I don't know, but yeah, that's a very good point.
Did you guys, I know we talked about the, little man symbol next to the Rookman when you saw the key thing that was his face?
Yeah.
Did you notice the other, little conversation pieces the Rookmen were having?
Yeah.
There was, one that was an eye symbol, one that looks like Norse runes. I thought it was really interesting that, they can clearly speak a common language. Also, as a side note, I love that their speech bubbles were differently designed.
Mm-hmm.
But they can clearly speak the same language, and then they have their own language, which looks more symbol and Norse rune based, which I thought was interesting. And especially, I don't know if you guys have ever been to any Native American exhibits in museums or anything. I went to, I think it was in Denver. The Museum of Art had all different kinds of Native American exhibits there. And the helmets and the stylings of the tribe actually look very much like the Pacific Northwest.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Which I thought was really interesting when you pair it with the fact that the Rookmen kind of look like they're speaking in Norse runes, and also on the very first pages, when you look at the cave drawing type things, or the wall paintings, the language on the walls also looks like Norse runes. So I feel like there's two different kind of cultural things going on.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really an interesting pairing. If you Google an image of Pacific Northwest Native American art, it's very much like the red and black and white that you see on the helmets and things that the tribesmen are wearing. It's just, I thought it was a really interesting juxtaposition.
I agree.
And also that key showed, like, whatever the little thought bubble thing showed a picture of his helmet.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder is if they're just talking about him or if maybe he was like a prophecy.
I think it was a prophecy.
Someone would come and get the legacy of, I keep forgetting his name. Mani.
Yeah. It's on the cover. Come on.
I know.
At least it's easy to find. But yeah, actually, now that you mention it, it's like when Helen mentioned it, I'll click back over here. Where is it on here? These guys are talking with more Norse-looking runes, and then when you go to the Rookmen and their under-breath whispers, they're more hieroglyphic, I guess, but kind of a mixture. It's tough to see because it's really dark, but right here, yeah, that's going to be almost impossible to see. Sorry, but I can't tell because it's just like a few symbols. But then the key itself says something.
Yeah, that's.
It's like Bird Boy.
Yeah.
It's, I crave Bird Boy. There's so much weird stuff in this book. It's awesome.
It was fantastic to read all the little things in it. It's just amazing. I guess I'll skip. I loved it.
Yeah.
I would read the next one.
I'll skip to the end on that one too and agree with you. Very
I will
good.
also agree.
Yeah.
Let's make that 4. I really enjoyed it. I just wanted to get back to one thing that Helen said. The thought bubbles or the speech bubbles from the Rookmen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to say I'm with you on. I love the way how they're differently drawn. And in my head, as I was reading it, I imagined not them just talking, but like it coming out as like a snake, slow, snaky, lots of S's. I'm not sure why.
No, I follow you. Well, I'm sure I can figure out why. It's probably because they've got these really long
things,
snake-like things that are coming out there. That's pretty good. I did notice something though. Is that how all their masks all have a similar look with like the slanted the eye holes almost, and then that long point down. Well, when the sword opens, one of them actually has an expression change on his face, and so it's like the mask itself changed. I thought that was interesting. It shows that the mask is actually part of them. And because when the mask came off of the one guy, it was hollow inside and it just had the key. So it just makes me wonder if like a lot of the objects actually have a consciousness in this, and that's how it works. Like the mask itself represents the consciousness. Maybe, I don't know. If you can just put a mask on something and suddenly it comes to life. But then, other times, you got the kid without his mask on, like you were saying.
Yeah, he can take it off. Maybe that's something special about him.
Yeah, nobody else took their masks off, ever.
Right.
That's true.
And he's not... They found him in the edge of the woods. So he's got to be something different and something special. They are alluding to it in the book that he's basically the second coming of Mani.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my impression. which then makes me love the fact that she made him be so kind of clumsy and tiny.
I guess going back to the mask, I'm not sure if someone else said this already, but I loved when they were hunting the herd, how they looked like wolves in the
Hmm.
grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I think I just found it here. The this
Yeah,
little
where
bit.
they're just kind of poking up and their masks are showing, and it's like,
That's really good.
I thought
Did
that
you
was
guys
really
notice?
cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. Did you guys notice that when they were showing the warriors and hunters, you never see their eyes, you only ever see their nose and chin? Like they're more their mask than the woman that you see, who's obviously not. I'm gonna call him Bird Boy because I can't remember his name. Obviously not
Molly
his
Money
mother.
Jr.
But I mean, her face is fairly exposed. She's got a headdress and all that stuff on, but you can still see kind of her eyes and expression. But every time we see the warriors or hunters or, whatever they're supposed to be, you never see their eyes. It's always just the mask, which I thought was really interesting, especially because Bird Boy is so set on impressing them and proving that, he's old enough to do the smoke walk and become a man and all that stuff.
So wait, you're saying that you can see the old lady's eyes?
You can, well, I mean, I think it's just like a paint or...
Yeah,
It
looks
does
like
look
it's...
like a paint.
I think it's actually part of the mask, and it's like just about flesh colored.
See, I thought that was her actual face.
I did too.
And
It was just
I
like
thought so
some
too,
paint.
except for one pane. Let's see if I could actually get this right here. The first one that you see her in right here, tough to tell, because I think the camera is trying to focus on me. Let's try and take up a lot of the screen. But the detail on her eyes is actually just 3 lines that don't look like an eye. It looks like a design. It just cuts across as like a slice. And so the close-up of that made me think that it was a mask. But I wouldn't doubt that, it seems to be very form-fitting on her. Like, it really almost fits her skull. Whereas the others all sit on top, almost loungily sitting back on their heads. Hers is like tight on her face, and therefore it looks like it's part of her. So maybe she's a little closer to human than the rest, like you were implying, if only for that. But then other ones, it does look a bit different. I mean, she's got this squinty look going on here, and it's like the symbols have changed, and it's just lines now instead of like little squinty lines coming off of it. So maybe you are right, and I'm misinterpreting it. Well, not to say that you're wrong either way, because I'm effectively saying that I
could be
agree that I
wrong.
think she's
That's okay.
more human than the rest of them appear to be. That's a really
So
good
I have a
point.
recommendation.
Yes.
Do not read this at night in bed.
Yeah.
The first read through I did, and I didn't I just kind of read through it really quick, and I couldn't really see everything very well, and I feel like you would really missed a lot of great art. So the first read through, I was just like, oh, okay, this isn't bad. The second read through, I took my time and I sat in well lit area, and then I really really enjoyed it, and I really love the art.
Yeah.
I'm glad I read it the second time.
I think one of the things I love most about the art is the depiction of the wind and smoke and water. Like she gives them such a fluidity that you often don't always get, even though it's showing like something can be shown as being windy. But like they almost look like brush strokes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're so beautiful.
I also like what she did with the snow and like the embers
Mm-hmm.
with the when he has the fire. I really like that kind of. I don't know. It added another element to the pictures, which I thought was interesting. Kind of like the wind.
Yeah.
Beautiful artwork.
So I do have a question for you guys.
Let's hear it.
Do you want Bird Boy to return to his tribe, or do you want him to kind of go all Simba from The Lion King and grow up in the forest?
I want him to go Legend of Zelda Link myself.
Oh.
Just go out, explore, start finding different pieces, unveiling different parts of the puzzle, and learning things for himself, finding new allies, and always having a possible village that he can go back to and prove himself at. That's my thought.
I like that.
I don't feel he can just go back to his tribe. I don't think they'll believe him that he found things. Not unless he. Well, I mean, I guess if he has the sword, but he could easily lose it again. On his way back. I feel like he needs to find more answers, more questions.
Yeah, I was meaning more when he's matured and successful and stuff. So that he has something that he can actually prove to them about his worth. And they can start respecting him as something more than a goof and a fallover.
I don't know. I feel like there's something about his mom, sort of. There's something mysterious about her, and that she'll play a part later, maybe. She kind of believes in him and is trying to get him involved, but I don't know. There's something about her. I feel like she's going to be important later. Maybe she's the one that found him, so she knows more than maybe everybody else does.
Yeah, she found him floating in a little wicker basket going down the stream. A little name tag pinned to him says Moses or something. She's like, yeah, I got a good feeling about this one. I think it's going to be all right.
Well, she also, mysteriously leaves the house in the middle of the night. And that's when he leaves. And yeah, she could have been going to the smoke walk. But she may have been doing something else. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right. There's so much, and I don't mean to stereotype this as webcomics, but a lot of the time when I see webcomics, they're in it for the long game. They're not there to try and get a one-hit comic out there. They're like, all right, I'm gonna put something calm and explanatory and do a really good job of a setting, or something that's going to set up for a lot of other stuff to happen later on. People are like, what's that? What's that? And what's that? And then over the period of a year of posting 2-3 times a week or something, they might reveal 1 or 2 or 3 of those items because the audience just goes back and checks, because webcomics are a lot slower in a lot of cases. And I feel Bird Boy kind of did a good switch off on that, where it kind of found a middle ground between graphic novel, grip you at the beginning, and webcomic of a slow build and a lot of mystery. I think it found a really good middle ground on that.
Interesting. If you go to her Tumblr page and you look at her art, or even her, I guess some of her others, has a huge presence on the internet, but she answers a lot of questions that people have about the things that she does. At least that's what it looked like to me. There's lots of questions and answers mixed in with the art pages.
And for those that are interested or watching this video, I took the links that Kellisto supplied me with there and put them down in the description for those that want to check them out. And there's a ton of links if you want to check out this the person who made this and a lot of their works and whatnot. So, go check them out. Tell him the Mischief sent you.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that she sticks around for the long haul and gets more stuff out. Somebody needs to hire her as full-time as a comic artist.
I agree. I
Beautiful
hope
work.
I hope that she was successful enough from working with Dark Horse to just continue on this path. You said that she's already working on a second volume or has a second volume coming out, so I would imagine
Yes.
that's very good news.
Oh gosh, I'm looking at her Tumblr page right now, and there are some really amazing things on there.
Curious now. Let's see here. Tumblr.
And she does really good with the color. I'm assuming she's her own colorist. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
That
actually,
she's so multidimensional.
that's a really good point. A lot of web comic artists do all the stuff themselves. I have known some that when they start getting more professional, they'll start outsourcing some part of it so they can produce more content quicker. But it often changes the entire look of everything. Like they'll get a colorist and they'll just do all the inking and story. Other times they'll switch over completely and just do the story, or they'll just do the art and sell the story to a company or something, and it changes a lot. But yeah, she probably did it all herself, being a web comic artist person type thingy.
I guess there's something to be said about finding somebody early on in their career. So we can watch her change over time.
Yeah.
That's a very
Can I
good
point
point.
out something really random?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Go for it. Bring us back in.
So, well, it's not going to bring you back in at all.
All right, take us back out.
So the tail right here, this one,
Yeah.
dog-looking creature. When I saw it, I thought of Boston Dynamics and their robotic dogs.
Oh!
Yeah.
Just kind of like the body. I was like, if they put a skin on it with like a little face, that would totally be the right shape.
Oh, actually, since we're jumping around, I didn't even notice this. There you go. Look at the foot on this guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last sketch thing.
He's got the crow-like foot going on there, extra toe, I guess, but hands and feet. He's got those hooked claws going on the tip that are like a bird of prey or a talon. Look pretty wicked.
The page next to it has the early drawings for the hunters, and
Yep.
I noticed that she actually has their eyes showing in the ones she didn't use.
Ah,
I kind of like that she went with the other, though.
yeah.
It made it seem more like their mask was just an extension of themselves.
Right. Yeah. It's a very good point. So, all right, here's a weird question. Do you think that the kid is going to have the power himself, or he's going to gain the power from the artifacts that he finds and collects and uses, perhaps? Because he seemed to be
I
like a
think
nobody.
it'll-
Till he
I
got
think
the
it'll
sword.
start with the artifacts, but then probably go into he found the power within himself to save the people
Mhm.
kind of thing. It feels like it's going in that direction.
That's kind of what I hope. Is that like it starts with the artifacts and the sword, and I would really love it if like Mali Mani's bell was found as well. Like,
Mm.
the next artifact he discovered. So he's got like this amazing sword and this awesome bell, and then eventually, it goes into him being a mature adult, or at least somewhat bigger person, because he's tiny right now,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and finding that confidence and maturity to go back and say, look what I found, and I found our cities, and I found all this evidence of how great our culture was. Not that their culture isn't great right now, but when you saw the the panels where he was in that kind of temple-y house thing, like that looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I want to see more of that.
Yeah, I get the feeling that while they're doing good now, but I get the feeling that they're the tribe that he was in is kind of on this downward slope. And all the ruins and artifacts and stuff are just old things that we're seeing from like the past, but possibly from a better time. You know, a lot of stories will have like in the old days things were wonderful, and then somebody got too greedy or too powerful, and then all shit happened, and and then all this bad stuff and apocalypse, and we recovered, or we were able to defeat it and store it away, and then the slow building process, and people prospered for a while, and then it just started going down again, and then evil crept back into the land. But it often led to wonderful things like ancient ruins, like in this case, where you could find just these really cool stuff, you know. And this is why I get like a Legend of Zelda vibe off of this. You know, this is like really young Link. You know, and like because they've done like a few games where he's like, you know, he's got a slingshot and a dagger, you know, and like a wooden shield, and he gets his butt kicked easily by everything, which is like massively huge compared to him, but he earns himself great power and explores multiple old ruins. So I get a really strong Zelda vibe, but the theme of this whole thing is just great.
I have a side question. What did you guys think of the way that he made fire?
Don't
I
remember.
thought that was really interesting.
I did too. I was like, wow. It makes me wonder if like fire was a gift given to them in the form of whatever that stone was.
Huh.
It just was okay. So basically, what I'm talking about is when he runs out, he goes to this cave or former dwelling where people
That's
used to
right.
live, or a temple.
Yeah.
Then he has this like little rock that has a rune on it, I think, and he puts it into a kettle of water, and then suddenly is able to just pour out fire.
Yep.
In this like a fire ring sort of deal. Yeah, and I thought that was so interesting, but also like, why is it like that, kind of, in my mind. So I don't know if that'll ever be explained or not, but I thought that was a really interesting departure from our reality. Like, this world has magical things we don't understand.
Yeah, that much is true. And I look forward to some things just never being explained.
Yeah, that may be one of them. That was pretty cool, though. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, though, if you don't have this little rune stone with a fire glyph on it, are you just like screwed? Do you have to have a tea kettle with water in it as well in order to do that, or are you able to build things more traditional sense like we might with like matches or sticks or flint and steel?
And are they
whatever.
reusable?
Yeah.
Use the fire thing, and then like, can you bring it back? And they made such a big deal of him bringing that kettle, and you're kind of like, well, you know, why is he bringing something like that? Because it looked like it was heavy, and you know, his little body trying to carry all this stuff. And then later you see why he brought it, and it made sense. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
So good. All right, so besides the art, what's one thing that you liked the most of the novel? Really messing with you on this one, because the art's the easy thing.
Besides the story, like I mean, the second time through, not the first, but when I started reading it again, just it made me wonder what's going on and who's this Molly Manny and how is he going to play. I don't know. I like this. I tend to like stories more than art. When we read these graphic novels because I'm more story based. But it made me want to find out more. I actually really liked the interaction between him and. Maybe he interact with her much, but I liked she looked like a grandma to me, not a mom. But,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by the grandma. I don't know what she's called, Inani.
Yeah.
Which is very similar to Nanny. So yeah.
Yeah. I want to see more of her. I want to find out who she is and what she's doing. I like the fact that she looks like she's, smoking out of a. I can't even think of the word for it, but now.
Pipe?
Yes. Well, bong. That's what it is.
Oh.
I should know that, but short little brain part there.
I
Oh,
like the legend at the very beginning. That was probably my favorite part.
the legend at the beginning. Gotcha.
Yeah, like they talk about Molly Mani's legend, and that basically sucked me right in. And then the rest of I was able to continue on and enjoy the rest just as much, but I think the beginning, that legendary story was neat. Probably my favorite part.
I think my favorite part was the old building that he finds and seeing the way that his tribe lived and the different decorations that they used and the tent that he shares with Inani versus in the building that he goes to. You can, I don't know, it seemed to show to me the different, the way that his tribe has kind of is not as great as it once was, I guess.
By the way, I may have looked up the whole peace pipe part that they're smoking, which the whole novel to me screams like American Indian, but it also has a hint of Norse mythology. I mean, all the masks that the average good guys wear look like totem poles, just cut off, hollowed out, and people are wearing them. And then they're in these lean-tos, but the inside and so on, they've got what looks like giant teepees and they're smoking peace pipes, and the people hunt similar to American Indians. But then you've got a lot of the Norse myths and runes and so on. I think I liked just the entire mixture of the mythology myself. It was a really cool. It was very familiar to me because of that, but it was very different because you don't really combine this kind of stuff regularly, and everything was so foreign to me, like the bells and the fact that everybody's wearing these giant unwieldy helmets of some sort. It just seemed to really lend itself really well. The mythology itself drew me in, and the story I think kept me. So that was really, really good. Really good. So we're actually nearing the end here. Did anybody have more questions that they had or things they wanted to discuss about this fantastic work of art that is Bird Boy?
No, I think I brought up everything.
All right.
I liked it.
Yeah, I think that gets a lot of thumbs up from everybody on this one. Yes. Definitely gets a thumbs up here.
She can thank her golden retriever. That's how I found her.
Yeah, when you said that, I just followed her on Instagram.
Oh, there's this one on there that you have to look. Her golden retriever has like this huge collection of scarves and or
Oh.
bandanas and leashes, and I'm like, oh, my poor dogs only have one that they've been wearing for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh.
What were you about to say, Helen?
Oh, I think the blurb on the cover, where
Mhm.
it says stunningly beautiful, strange, and refreshingly original, is just completely perfect for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
I will say I'm a little surprised that it's classed as like juvenile fiction in
Yeah, I saw that.
the
Really?
On the back top left corner, it says juvenile fiction.
That's
And then-
where I found it at the bookstore. I went to Powell Books. It's absolutely enormous. And in their kids' like juvenile graphic novel area, that's where this was. And actually
wouldn't put it there.
in the back it does say they put in a little thing that says explore these beloved books for the entire family. So it seems like that's how it's been marketed.
I guess that
I guess
makes
to me-
sense.
Like, to me, it didn't read that way at all. Like, I didn't look at it and go, oh, this is, a kid's graphic novel.
Mm-mm.
And I don't think that should stop anybody from reading it.
Right.
If you think that you shouldn't read it just because it's designed for a slightly younger crowd, I think you'd be missing out. Because
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
I think it's very mature for it,
It
but
is.
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, heck, the fact that most of the things that die in this turn into a pile of rocks probably helps. So there's
I
no
did find
blood and
a
such.
blurb in here. There is a description.
Mhm.
It says 10-year-old Bali, that's his name, tries to prove his worth to his northern tribe by setting out into the forbidden forest where he finds the legendary sword of Mali Mani and fights his way home across a dangerous land of gods, men, and beasts.
Nice.
So he's actually one of the dwarves from The Lord of the Rings. Bali.
Are you sure he's not a hobbit?
What's that?
Are you sure he's not a hobbit? He looks kind of hobbit.
Maybe.
Because he's all, like, round and kind of chubby. Slightly adorable.
Yep.
Like the hobbit.
Oh, very adorable.
All right. So I think I'm going to draw it to a close there.
Okay.
We're going to have next. Oh, by the way, quick question. What did Adam think of it?
He didn't read it yet. I tried. He's been busy with wedding stuff, so he's excused.
Okay. Well, you can tell him that it got a full mischief of approval. So
I did push it into his hands before he left today, and told him that he had to read it. So
excellent. All right.
What about Kashka?
I'm fairly certain she's of the same opinion. She's not here for me to verify. Usually we really try to not discuss it beforehand, or else we'll run. We want to save those talking points for when we talk with you guys.
Oh.
But I'm pretty sure she was of the same opinion that we were. If anything, because I know that she read it extremely fast and had a smile on her face, so that was good.
Ask her if she'll put a comment in the YouTube thing about what she thought, if she agreed or not.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll ask her to put her thoughts in the description. We'll see if that'll pan out or not. Kashka says, 2 thumbs out of 2. All right. So next time we are going to be covering Ms. Marvel.
Yay!
The Kamala Khan version, not the old version. For those that are not familiar with Kamala Khan, that is this girl here. She is a teenager, and it's really good. It's really good.
In Jersey City.
In Jersey City, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, I look forward to that. I've already read it. I'll be reading it again happily.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's it. So we'll all see you folks later. Thanks for stopping in. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.